Euler, quick on the draw. What's up, brother? Happy Sunday. And it's good to catch a break every now and then, man.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Gumby, I just want you to know that I know, that you know that I know, you're full of crap. Dude, I tried to do skateboarding when I was younger. I just didn't stick with it enough because I just kept eating shit all the time trying to skate. It was one of those things I just never could get down. That's right, Gumby. Hey, guy, what's up, brother? Yep, the imaginary land of ham, or as we call it, Canadian bacon. Yes, we're going to be doing some more coding with the Snick-a-Snick. Gumby, is that a problem? Oh, you can't see everything? Okay, good. Good. Awesome. Dude, speaking of down with the PSYOP, so when I was in that course the other week with Jason Haddix, I was joking about Uwu Underground. And he's like, yeah, I'm definitely down with the PSYOP. I was like, yeah. I still have to figure out how to do that, Gumby. Let me see. All right, actually, I think I just figured it out, Gumby, so you're good. Let's get started. Also, I fixed this thing. Yeah, I fixed the slide. Look at that. Look at that. It makes me so happy. It doesn't do anything for anything, but it makes me happy. I tinkered with the color correction too, so let me know how it looks, because this monitor where I actually have OBS running doesn't do good color grading. So it's kind of a pain to figure out if the color correction's any good whatsoever. Heck, I mean, it looks normal when I'm looking at the screen right now, but for all I know, I could look like a smurf with what you guys are seeing. I think I'm still looking pretty ghosty, but you know what? Whatevs. Let's see here. So I was just double checking. I did the seed run for HackBot just before the stream started. Oh wait, I got a thing. I set up a timer to warn me when I actually need to go redo the timer on it. So that's great. Let me see here. So as I was looking at it earlier, it's doing the exact same thing we saw the other night, by the way. So let's go pull up the trace. This is the latest run. It's still just returning this like partial JSON down here. So we got to figure out how to handle this JSON patching. Shut up, baby, I know it. We got to figure out how to handle this partial JSON patch that it returns back to us. So I haven't actually used many of the output parsers in here. Hack the planet. So now I got to figure out how I actually want to do this. Yes.
I'm back, baby.
Did I look at Cloudflare tunnels for using GitHub Actions? Nah. I mean, I don't really have much of a use case for them, though. I think they'd be interesting, but... Hey, Waleed. Yeah, man. Come on in. Dude, we talk about cybersecurity and hacking, and we're actually building a little AI bot to play Capture the Flag games. So they're basically hacking challenges where the system is purposely vulnerable. You try to break into it and get a little piece of code. You capture it. That's the flag. And I actually don't really enjoy doing Capture the Flags personally. But the idea of making a little AI bot to see how far we could push that idea, I do find really fun. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just tinkering around with it. So the problem on the table right now is the data flow looks good, right? If we come back up here, everything inside the exploit agent is executing correctly. So drag this over meow, and this wrap meow, and this wrap meow. So if we come over here, this whole data flow and then the execution loop is working. This is all good. The problem is now, when we get to the second iteration of the reviser, it's not emitting the entire object back to us, it's emitting a patch to us. So what we need to do is figure out how to handle that JSON patch that it's returning back. Because we're actually sending it a pretty chunky piece of information here. Here's all the information we send it. All right, let me come up here a bit. We send it the entire exploit task up here. So that starts from here all the way down here. All of this information. Just like that. So we're sending it all of this, and the first time it hits this reviser node, It actually is returning all of that data back to us. However, subsequent times, it's just returning this. So, got to figure out how we're going to handle this in here. There is a JSON output parser in LangGraph to do this. Got to figure it out. These are purposely vulnerable. They're not accidentally vulnerable like in every other production network you see, Euler. I could use JQ, but this is not in Node. This is in Python, right? I've not used the output parsers here. So I believe the output parsers are... We're not using any of the output parsers. We're doing raw parsing whenever it sends it back. Let me see what options we've got here. Batches completed. We have an A invoke. So how do these output parsers actually work? Let's go look at that. Output parsers. So output parsers emerged as part of this earthing. Let's see. Most language models support structured language natively. So the output parser, so parse the output of an LLM call to a JSON object. I don't think this is actually what we want in here. I don't think so. Yeah, Gumby, I gotta figure out how to set those up over on the kick side. Let me see if there's anything native for this. Python JSON patching. What the heck is this song? It's a weird one. All right, so this is for creating patches, but how do we apply a patch? Let me read through this whole thing though, because it probably solves the problem. Let's see. So one way you can apply it is you explicitly go create a JSON patch. But this is what the patch is supposed to look like. It's supposed to have these opcodes in here. And notice how we don't have that. When it's returning back to us, it's literally just returning what fields were updated. And these fields are nested under a whole bunch of different sections in here. So for example, current step is a top level one. The status here would be working. The task would be this. I'm trying to think how to deal with this. Because it's only returning like this partial JSON data. So I'm curious how you're handling cross-session context for long engagements. I was looking at Fabric and Kai agent model for my knowledge. So right now, everything is very ephemeral in here, Waleed. It's meant to just attack a single box, and the entire structure is still very, very raw in here. So for example, this is meant just for playing stuff on Hack the Box or Try Hack Me. Right now. Eventually, I'm building it so it can have scalability. I want to eventually have it go attack multi-network systems, something like Game of Active Directory. But right now, I'm just letting all of that be handled in memory. Eventually, what I'll do is implement a database, and we can actually store the various runs in the state tables in the database, and instead of having it just be handled in memory. But this is how the whole structure sits right now. So this is the bootstrapping stuff. Stinger here is the supervisor, which isn't even fully implemented yet. And then recon, enumeration, and exploit, they're all just storing everything. So actually, I store a ton of data in the state table, and then I manually do the context handling where I pick out the relevant pieces of information for the language model calls. So for example, let me dig into the recon one. Here, I'll show you. So there's a validator up here when this fires. Ninjas with guns. Thanks for coming online, man. So when this workflow first fires in LangGraph, it starts here. The recon agent looks at what it's supposed to do, and the first thing it actually does is send it over to stop popping up. It sends it over here to the validator. The validator will actually look at all the data we know about the target host and say, okay, can we answer this information from scans we've previously done? Because it's all tracked in the state table. And if it can, then it will just say, hey, we already know that the task is completed. If it doesn't know it, then it actually goes through an execution loop here to try and validate and reform it to get the relevant information that we want. This actually probably needs a little bit more robustness, but for our very basic example, it's working right now. And then there's a beefed up version of this over in the exploitation agent here. So in the exploit agent finds out, kind of looks at all the data of what we're doing with the target, everything we've collected, and says, okay, I think we can exploit it like this. And then sends that down to the planner. The planner builds a very quick set of steps that need to be done to perform the exploit. And then this loop actually comes through and does it all. But this whole time, each of these nodes is getting the entire state table. It's got the whole kit and caboodle. But when we send the data to the language model, we're manually specifying we want these chunks of information to stick them all together. Now, on the other side, though, when you're talking about like context for long conversations, that's actually something I've been tinkering with, using a lot of inspiration from Daniel Miesler and his PAI library, the personal AI infrastructure, because it sounds really cool. I like the idea of it. It's just PAI takes over your entire Claude code install. I'm looking very bright. Dude, I believe it. Let me see if I can adjust it real quick. Hang on. But yeah, so how to store those on disk, I haven't quite figured that out without any way of doing it without a database. So it's something that's on the kind of on the to-do list, Waleed. Let me see here real quick. Stand by. Because I couldn't quite tell exactly how well it was looking in here. Let's see if I can find it real quick here. Try to turn the brightness down. I can't tell because it just keeps shining into my the lights are just shining into my eyes. How's that look? Any better? Do I look less ghostly? I've been meaning to get with one of my buddies who's a professional, not really professional, but he's got professional grade everything. He does professional grade work. He just does it as a hobby. And send him some stuff. Like, hey man, I need help with the color correction. Hook me up. Forehead's blinding. Y'all are so rude tonight. Damn. Now I'm surrounded by darkness. Man, some people you just can't please. Let me see. Where did I do that? Where do that? Turn this saturation. Use shift. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just throwing sliders at the wall and seeing what sticks. Actually, there is quite a bit of red in my beard. Especially today because I was out in the sun a lot and the sun really brings it out. Now I look yellow. Crap. I wish I could. Hold on. Now I probably look even brighter. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. Does that look any better? Tell me. And then we'll get back to actually doing the real work. It's all good. No, go back. It's horrible. Oh, actually, yeah, I did miss that. Let me go take a look at that real quick, guy. Turn off studio mode here. Ah, it didn't copy. Damn it. What is this song? There we go. Give me something a little bit more chill. Augusta. I need to learn more about GitHub Actions and how it does a bunch of these things. Do I need to Control Z again, 57? Did I really mess it up? Hey, Waleed, see if you can find me a link to that one. Because I think I did read that paper. Noipi, hey brother, what's up, man? Happy Sunday. Because I usually do cover like anything that's like, especially cross-sectional with AI and cybersecurity. That's kind of been my bag for the last year. So, been working on that. I know, but this will probably come in super handy, guy, later on after I do some more development and actually fully kind of release HackBot out to everybody. I mean, the code's up on GitHub if you want it right now. It's just, it's a complete working repo. I'm going to break it every weekend. Thinking of finishing up my master's degree in data science. Interesting. Dude, there's so many people actually starting to bail on GitHub runners because of the way they're structured. And if you ever want to see, it's not AI slop too. It's literally just people coming up with stupid, dirty hacks for getting stuff done. There's some really bad ones. Primogen had a video on that talking about just how much money sometimes gets wasted from these GitHub action runners. That's pretty cool. Augusta. Check the AI analysis. All right, let's see. Install JQ. Were you just doing this all throughout? So I would use JQ. Actually, Noipi, yeah, I did. I used WinUtil whenever my system died and I had to, when I swapped the CPU and I had to bring it back around. That's what I used to kind of help bootstrap cleaning it up, because I did end up having to reuse Windows 11, even though I really didn't want to, because I don't like Windows 11. And I thought I would never install it on this system. And so, yeah, I used WinUtil to help strip out a whole bunch of the telemetry and tweak it to kind of get it started really quickly. All right. I wonder if there's a way to, let me see here. LangChain with JSON. So everything keeps going back to this JSON output parser, but I don't need the JSON output parser. I mean, we're literally getting the data back as it comes in. Because this is why it's so weird, because as we're looking at this, there's a lot of stuff that does not get updated. Let me check the system prompt, because actually I think I added something into the system prompt here. Okay, so it doesn't give a crap about this instruction here. Let me make a quick modification to the prompt right now, because... Close that. Where's my prompts? We've also got a missing line ending in here somewhere. Let me see if I can get us to do that. We'll just say always return a full and complete exploit task. Let me save this, because I do want to do another run on this real quick. And we can let it do this first run while we're chit-chatting and take care of other stuff. All right, let me run this sucker. Hey, Waleed, there was also recently another paper talking about comparing humans to cybersecurity agents, and if I remember correctly, a lot of times what they're doing with those is they're doing them for web-based stuff. I don't know too many people, aside from the guys over at Dreadnode, that have really worked on having agents run internal analysis. Actually, I do know of another outfit. I'm just not allowed to talk about them. Actually, I just don't know how much I can talk about them, so I'm not going to mention them. So this says current step is 1 status working. Task, upload a web shell to panel upload form. So here's what I don't get. So this revisor takes in the entire thing, but the very first time it goes through the revisor... Actually, no, this was the first run through. Maybe there's something else we can do with this. Because right now we're sending it the entire exploit task. I missed the AI analysis. Okay, hang on. Let me go back to it. Oh, do the analysis with Keila code? Ooh, nice. Final summary, fix. See, I've not messed with Keila code. Yeah, my bad, guy. Okay, I'm looking at it right now. Final decision, update the version. Cloud, desktop. Okay. Cool, I like it. Make deployment decision. Cool, man. What is this song, too? Hold on. This is another one I gotta nix off the library. Enter the White Zoo. Two Bob, you got some wicked songs in here. There we go. Yeah, I remember you telling me about this guy, how you were running this over in the GitHub runners. But that's pretty cool that you've actually got it set up in there. Augusta. Augusta. All right, let me see here. So right now, what we're setting is the actual exploit task structure. So that is this guy. We're letting it modify the entire thing. Maybe that's not what we should be doing. Let's see about this. So, because the exploit task has a task, and the problem is the steps in here. We have a step task, and then we have an exploit task. So there's a little bit of, I wonder if it's overloading this term in here, and it's not worried about this. So really the steps, which is a list of exploit steps, this is really what we need it to come back as right here. We want it to be able to modify that list because the list looks like this, right? Let's come up here. So after we go through like the planner, when this returns our output, here's what this guy looks like. It's collapse, 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 collapse. Here we go. So here's what all the steps look like, right? Get a PHP web shell artifact, navigate to the upload panel, things like this, right? The problem is what's going to happen is once it gets to this part to actually upload the web shell, it's going to hit a blocker and it needs to find a way to work around it. So before we gave it options of like how to modify this. Now we're just giving it the entire exploit task. So maybe that was too much to give it. Maybe we also are trying to cram too much into one. Maybe this is too much for one node. Perhaps we need to actually go through and modify this and make it two different ones. So we might need to actually go add another node in here. So instead of just having this reviser do this, and the reason why I'm saying add another node is because typically I try to keep it to one, at maximum 2 language model calls to a node. So it makes it very clear like what's happening. It might just be one where after we do the update, we need to do like a task verification in here. And then all the updating needs to happen again. I'm not sure. Oh, well, yeah, one sec. Hang on. Let me grab that for you. Let's see. There you go. So if anybody wants to take a look at the code, it's up on GitHub. I fully admit it is rough as about 5 grit sandpaper. But it's a fun project. I enjoy it. Once we get the supervisor worked out, so we still have to write the post-exploitation agent, we still have to work on the supervisor. Once that part gets done, we're going to go through and do a big code cleanup and optimize some more stuff. Because, for example, the browser, the web browser is completely unoptimized. Oh, sorry, Gumby. I had the history in the browser. But once that happens, we're going to go through and clean up a lot of stuff and then start working on the user interface. The user interface is probably going to be fairly bare bones. For the most part, right now, it's meant to be run autonomously. It's most of we point at the target, it goes forth and it hacks. The other side of that is going to be eventually I also want to include a learning mode where the language model can actually kind of walk you through and teach you and reference like how to do it and look and think about things. So I don't know how I want to do that yet. All right, so let's walk through what this loop is doing. So the processor goes through, it finds either the first working step or the first new step. If there's a working step, it assumes that one is being worked on for a reason, it executes that. Or if no working steps, it finds the first new step. It then will either make a tool call or it will call a special agent to handle processing. After that, the data is going to come back. If it was a tool call, it's going to update the state table appropriately. The special agents handle their own updates, so not a big deal. We can they can handle their own state table changes. So this just basically is updating the state table with the stuff that's coming back from the tool calls. This part actually doesn't even need to be here. I left it in this way just in case people want to do it that way. Maybe I'll change it later, especially after I really formalize the special agent system. So then what happens is when it comes over to the revisor, it looks at the entire exploit task, which is everything in here. Well, actually, no, take that back, because this is where it's busted. Here we go. This is what the exploit task should look like. It's got all this information. So it already has a task already associated to it. And then here's all the steps with all their various fields. So what I'm thinking is, no, I think this could still work as a single call. I think we just need to scope it down rather than letting it attack all of this stuff at once. Really, this is the part that I think we need to work on. So we can still send it the entire exploit task, but then we can specifically tell it, here's the steps that we're trying to do. Actually, I take it back. We could probably get away with just giving it the steps in here, because we needed to have the ability to say, okay, I need to create a new step, which is going to come in here. Yeah, we want it to be able to manipulate these lists of steps. So when it reaches a blocker, it can come in and say, okay, we're gonna mark this step completed. Okay, this step failed. Why did it fail? The step itself is bad. We need to update the step, or we need to do something a little bit different and we need to rearrange it. So maybe we want to back this up a bit. We're gonna back this thing up. Maybe what we want is for it to give us a list of these steps back. But how do I want to do this? Let me see how we could do this. Prompt LM to return JSON patch. Maybe that's the best way to do this. So in theory, you could structure a prompt to be a valid JSON patch, including requiring keys of like what are the operator, the path, and the value. Because right now what's happening is it's just returning a partial amount of data. That's what's throwing all this crap off. All right, everything about JSON patching just keeps coming back to this guy right here. This JSON output parser. All right, let me go take a closer look at this real quick. Let's see. Doing the Carlton. This is the version 1.2 though. This is not the correct version that we need. Let's see, LangChain 0326, I think is the version we're running on. I think I already have this open though. Hang on. Which version is this? I'm not sure which version this is. Another option is we could actually go, I think it may work a little bit differently if we do that. So this was a brute force idea, right? We're saying, hey, here's the entire object, fix the object, send it back to us. not super optimal, especially as we keep sending it and the data object's going to grow larger, right? Yeah, still doing the same thing, Gubby. It's still doing the same thing where it's just returning like a partial set of fields to update. And the problem is those fields are nested in there. So one thing we could do is over here in the output formatters, let me bring this over. Yeah. Let me close special agents. I think we're done with that. And tooling, I think we don't need. We could also take this, the exploit task, or even the exploit step, and we could go turn this into... Let me go and delete these out because I've given up on that idea. It worked nicely for some of the other ones, but not for this. There's words in my beard? Oh, it must be because I changed the frickin' settings. Yeah, my beard's turned transparent now. Great. I just gotta set it back to what it was. There we go. I'll fix it later. You're just gonna have to deal with ghostly white Blaise tonight. Yeah, no kidding. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. Flashbang Blaise, that's right. Blinded by the light. Revved up like a deuce till the morning hit the night. I, for the longest time, did not realize he was saying revved up like a deuce in that song. I thought it was something entirely differently and inappropriate. I thought he was referencing a hygiene product. And I thought, wow, that's a really weird thing to be revved up like. That's right, Frozen. I know it was deuce, but that's not what I heard, Chris. No, I heard something entirely different. Maybe this is what we need to do. So no, I'm not going to rename that. So this was our previous, what we used was our exploit step status in here. Yeah, Gumby, that's exactly what I heard too. Yeah. Revved up like a douche till the morning at night. That's exactly what I heard. I love that entire list of... I love that entire playlist of like misheard lyrics. They crack me up. We're not using this anymore since we've fundamentally changed the way this is going. No implementations found. That's what I thought. Okay. I'm going to try this. I'm going to take all this stuff out. These lines are going away.
Gee, have you tried turning it off and on again?
I did. I turn it off and on before the stream starts. Let me think about this. So what I want is, we want steps in here. This is going to be a list of exploit steps in here. And we're going to make that a pydantic field. And we're going to give that a description in here. And the description is going to be the list of steps to complete the exploit. Hey Mars, what's up, man? Happy Sunday. And Drewski, happy Sunday. So what we're doing right now, guys, by the way, to catch everybody up who just popped in, is the language model, when it's returning data, is not returning the complete set of data like it's supposed to. It's returning this small subset in here. And that is jacking us up. So trying to find a way to maybe restrict it down. Let me see if I still have the drawing up. Oh, this was our quick session on reverse and bind shells last night. Let me clear this out. Flashbang. So what happens here is we have a set of tasks in here, right? So the tasks are the things that go to a primary agent. So primary agent. And then underneath this, we actually have a special case of them where in the output field, we can actually nest under this an exploit task. So this is a different type of task than the parent one. And then underneath the exploit task, we have a steps key. And that's an array. And this is a type of exploit task. Exploit step right here. So currently what we're sending to the language model is everything from here to here. Previously, we were just sending it one piece of information from a step. And we were giving it the option to insert a step into the list, but it was causing the list to get really corrupted. So I'm wondering if we need to restrict this down. Rather than sending the entire exploit task, do we just want to send this portion here? Do we just want to restrict it down to where here's our step, here's and basically our array of exploit steps? Dude, Rob Reiner died? Oh, bro. Oh no. Two people were found dead on Sunday inside a Brentwood home owned by Rob Reiner. Wait, was he one of them? I don't think, I mean, I'm not seeing that he died. I think people were found in just a house that he owned. He didn't die. Okay. Still crazy that, I mean, no idea about what the people are. I don't like getting the early breaking news anyway, because they usually tend to screw it up and over-sensationalize everything. Did he do it? That remains to be seen. am I gonna make this work here? Actually, so before I try this, let's go back over here. Let's finish this up. So here's our exploit step updates, and what it's gonna return is the entire list of steps. That's gonna be a list of exploit steps, just like that. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna modify this, but to make this work, what we're gonna need to do is I'm gonna chunk out all of this code here. All this is going away. This was our exploit step status in here. Let me think about this. So now we're going to say our gotta import that. We comment that out real quick. Okay. So now when this comes back, we actually need to make another addition to this real quick. We comment that out. We don't need the annoying debug in here anymore. We need to make a duplicate of this, though. Let me scoot this over a wee bit. Okay. So rather than going to the index here, that's our exploit step task. So that what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into the steps variable right there. We're going to set the steps. All right, let's see if this will load in and maybe let us run this. Caveman, what's up, man?
Caution. A virus has been detected.
One sec, Caveman, I'll get to you.
Laughing_second detected in the network.
The laughing virus. What's up, brother? My man, laughing sec. What were you working on, dude? Doing all right, man. We're still fighting with getting the language model to give us back complete data. Oh, God. The audio. It's given us a lot of other info back now. But, I mean, it's still just giving us the partial one. Oh, you're going over Advent of Cyber? Nice. Nice. Hang on one sec, guys. Something is jacked up on my PC. Let me go fix that real quick. All right, so Caveman, what we're currently working on is a little AI hacking bot to play CTF games for us. So we're working on it right now with a Try Hack Me system that is a super, super basic example. All this looks like it's working. One of the stream monitors said it was offline, but it looks like it's online. I don't get it. But that's what it's doing right now. Oh, come on, bro. Really? All right, got to figure out what's going on here. And the problem we're running into is the language model, when it's trying to handle the exploitation task, is just jacking up on us. Every time Blaise says HackBot, I can't think of Archer saying SpaceBot. SpaceBot! Although every time I hear SpaceBot, I have to think of Portal 2. Space! Alright, hold on. Where's it throwing an error in here? Oh, I think I know where the error is. Yeah. The problem is that no longer exists. Let me just get rid of some of this stuff. You go away. You go away. All right, now let me see that all. That should load up now. I've only seen parts of Archer. I've actually seen all the parts, so I don't know what SpaceBot was. Oh, you did get that job, Noipi. Nice, dude. So I think starting in IT before going InfoSec is humbling. Dude, it is, and plus, so I do know some folks. It's usually about a 95% of folks that go into cybersecurity, they start as like an IT generalist, and then they move into security as a specialist. about 5%, maybe as low as 3% from just what I've observed can go directly into security. And typically it's directly into offensive security. They just happen to be very talented in offensive security. The downside is, yeah, they're good, they know what they're doing, but they don't have what I'm going to call the typical lay of the land. Everywhere that admins might cut corners, or where, overworked, overcaffeinated, underslept people are going to make mistakes typically because they just have to make it work. And you have a really good sense of that if you've been in that environment and then you move out of it. I remember one time I was at a company doing a penetration test for them. I met the security team and I saw them, and they were overcaffeinated, overworked, underslept. And I was like, oh my God, these guys are me from 3 years ago. So I knew exactly some of the issues they were going to be facing, like as they were going through it. It also makes it a lot easier to be able to talk to them, because ultimately you have to remember, you're coming in as a value add. You're coming in, you're finding all the areas where they've got weaknesses so that you can help them plug it up. And the idea being that they're spending that money on you so they don't have to pay a fatter ransoms to some ransomware gang later. And the main thing they're paying for is your interaction with them and the report. So knowing how to have that kind of business interaction is super important. I'm not saying that 5% that's exceptionally talented in offensive security can't learn that. They absolutely can. But it is one of the things that does kind of give you that extra boost up, is you have a lot of those other soft skills and just knowledge of where corporations make mistakes. All right, this looks like it loaded up correctly. Let me try another run with it real fast here. New thread. Run. Oh man, just before the stream, poor Honey Badger caught the stomach bug that Agent Zero had and was just up chucking like a little champion. Poor guy. So I've got him tucked into bed in our room, so I can keep an eye on him tonight. Oh, interesting. Hold on. How far did we get with this before it crapped out here? Is this the latest one? We didn't get very far. Hold on. So the reviser did return some information to us. Oh. It only okay, hold on. It wasn't scrolling for a second there. So this one validated. All right, cool. We got that. But then we hit a new error. I wonder what happened here. So we should have taken this. Oh, you know what? I think I know what the problem is. Hang on. I think I'm an idiot. Chances are highly likely I'm an idiot. No, down here. Yeah, this was the problem right here. We have the args, and then we should be able to actually pull out the steps from that. Yeah. Just like that. Boom. All right. That's the problem, is we pulled out the wrong piece of data. So if we go look at what happened here to the state table post this, right? So for the input, let me collapse this down. This is what we should see coming in, right? We got this nice, well-formatted list of tasks and steps and everything. And then for the output down here, let me bring this back down. Oh, that's weird. Actually, it did show us that we had it all correctly then. All right, so what did the step processor get? What are you doing, step processor? Let's drill down into it real fast here. This looks correct, actually. It looks like it came back just fine. We double check this code here. So yeah, we take steps. We set that equal to args. I don't know. I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna save it and I'm gonna rerun it because I think that looks correct. I think it did save it. Let's see. Let's time travel a wee bit. Let's come back up here before the revisor. So rerun it before the revisor. So it's going to hit the revisor node and then go to the processor. Key error for status. Okay. Yeah, here we go. So now it's all jacked up. So yeah. Before it was just saying, hey, we've got a formatting issue. So this was correct. It should have just been args right there. So that was fine. Let me go look at the previous trace real quick. This one. Oh no, even this one. Where was it saying the error occurred? String indices must be integers, not string. What do you mean? It's not a string, though. Yes, we're still working on HackBot, trying to figure out why my code sucks and why the language model is an idiot. Like two idiots in a pod. What is this song? Rip PC. Okay, we're gonna rip that one out of the playlist. There we go. So this is coming in from get the current step. We send in the state table. It is checking here, but for some reason... Let me actually look at the output in the terminal here, because it actually gives us better ones. Okay, so it did say, for some reason, step status. Is it seeing that as like a complete string? What is going on? Hold on, let me run this back again real quick. Let's see. Yeah, rerun from here. I'm not pooping laughing. I'm sitting right here. Oh god, that is terror bad. Look at that. Step. Oops. Okay, that is not right. So this should have been steps in here. Let me look at the shape of the output real fast here. Let me double check that. So when the revisor sends it back... Why are we getting steps in here? What the crap is that? That's not what it sent back last time. Oh, it sure as hell is. Did I screw up something in the output formatter? Hang on. So it's sending steps as an array, but this is like an array with only one thing in it. That's so weird. Okay. Updates. Let's do this. Let's see. All right, that hot loaded in. Let me try backing this thing up one more time. I'm going to back that thing up and rerun it from here and let it just hit the reviser node again. It's a deep fake. You're actually in another room. Dude, actually, I do need to work on something for that. Now that I have everything shifted over to the dedicated streaming computer, I do need to go look at that because there was a story from TikTok about this lady whose daughter thought she was talking to a young guy on Instagram. Yeah, here's update steps. That's so wild. Why is it returning steps? I don't get that. All right, but that's fine. We can just go pull. It'll be update 0 steps. Why is it like that, though? That bugs me. Quick question. Did y'all hear the ding, ding, ding? Because the timer that I set just went off to update this at an hour. Okay. So I set a timer on the Stream Deck to remind me when I need to go add more time to try hack me. Because I kept forgetting and we'd run out of time and it invariably would screw everything up. So I went through and added that to it. Not heard? Okay, good. I hear it. I want it to be annoying for me. List of steps to complete. So this is building off of this state here, though, this exploit step. So weird. Anyway, that's fine though, because what we can do is, let's take a look at the shape of this data real quick. So it's updates, it's only going to have one in it. So we do update 0 steps in here. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So we just got to go pull out the correct field here when we're doing this. So now it's going to be updates. We'll take 0 and then we'll take the steps out of that. That should hopefully get it all targeted correctly. All right, then let's do a little bit more time travel in here. So we'll run it back from just before the reviser. Gumby, please tell me the audio is going through on YouTube. If not, I'm going to be really sad. Okay, cool. It looks like it pulled all the information out correctly because the step processor was actually able to do it. So right now, it should be loading up the browser. For some reason, it said the browser did not actually do it didn't do the navigation. What is this? Hold on. There's no current browser right now. Hang on. Let me go clear out the Docker containers real fast. I think that was over here. Yeah. All the Docker containers go away. Goodbye. These are all dangling containers that happen, so it's using Playwright MCP inside of Docker. It gets a full headless browser, lets us have complete control over it. However, there's nothing actually yet set up in the code to decommission these browsers. So they just become these dangling containers that hang out there. So let me just run a new thread in here. We'll let you run for just a second. This is the easy one. Basically, it gets the artifact. This is going to be really inefficient, though, because as we continue on, that context is going to continue to grow. And we're putting a lot on the language model for the output. The output is really going to be chunky. And just from a sheer probability perspective, we're giving it lots of opportunities to jack up the output. So having a more concise output would be the better option. So I really wish I could see what the JSON, figure out how to do the JSON patching, or basically prompt it to say, hey, here's what you've got. How are you going to patch this JSON in here? Surely somebody's figured this out. So it spins up a new one each time, Gumby, and then it thinks if it has a persistent one. So that's why I restarted the entire chain in here. So that way it would clear out the persistence tools. Because you see up here, there's an area in, well, you don't see it in here, but in the state table, there's an area for persistent tools. Ooh, come to think of it. No, we should be good. I think so. I think we're still modifying that persistence tools. Now, why is it taking so long to do this navigation? Why are you doing a snapshot again? I don't get why it's wanting to do this weird snapshotting thing here. All right, this should not be taking this long. Something's jacked up. What do we see here? Oh, I need to stop Mythic. Let's see. Let me turn off Mythic for now. Because we're not currently using Mythic anyway. Alright, let's see here. So one thing we should have running is Dreadnought. Yeah. Okay, server's still up and available. Maybe we need to go modify the prompt over in the browser agent a little bit.
So there's our browser task. This is actually implemented. What is it? Shift F6? No, that's not it. Control B. There we go. Oh god, no, go away. I gotta remember what the structure of that is in here. This is one of the few pieces of code that was written by AI, because I'm not very good with asynchronous programming. And if actually, as I looked at it more, I realized I didn't even need it. But it's working, and it's first on the chopping block when we get to the code enhancements after finishing Stinger. I'm gonna blow this thing away and rewrite it. Because it does work, but I don't like it. Here we go. Here's our create React agent. So you're a browser agent and handle controlling a Chromium web browser. You're going to be given a task. Let me do one more thing in here. I'm going to tell it when first starting. Nah, this sounds kind of stupid. I don't want to give it a... let me back that out. It's okay if it wants to do the snapshot. But the problem is it chose to... It got the snapshot and then it's like, okay, well, I didn't even complete the task I was supposed to. Went on with it. This should work. I think what I actually need to do is kill the LangGraph server. I think there's something hanging out in memory that it doesn't realize is causing an issue. So let's go restart this. Grab this. There we go. All right, let's run this from scratch again here. Let me rearrange this. You're gonna come here, here, and meow. You are gonna come right, meow. There we go. All right, run it from scratch. Something was funky, and I think it... I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what it does. Right now on the chopping block is me, because I'm losing my mind trying to fix the exploitation agent. When we swapped from Claude 3.7 to Claude 4.5, it introduced a whole bunch of new issues. And that's going to be, I think, one of the things that a lot of companies are not going to realize is going to be an issue, because it takes a lot of compute resources to host one of these models. So as these models start getting retired, Claude 3.7 is up on the chopping block to be retired. Everything that they have built and they have set up that worked well in theory with Claude 3.7, I doubt there was much, but whatever they have built is going to act completely differently with Claude 4.5. It was trained differently, it's designed to work differently. All right, let me see what it did here. Because if it just did the snapshot and didn't actually continue, I'm going to be pissed. Okay, it actually did do the navigate. For some reason, during the last one, why are you up? You should not be uploading anything. I mean, I guess it's okay if it tried that. Hang on, let me see what it did. We've got JSON born happening over here. So it's skipping ahead because it actually went through and tried to complete the two of them. This is actually a really interesting case to test out because... Now, why did... So the reviser's like, error, too much data, error. Let's see what happened here. What was the actual output error? Hold on, so what did it do? For some reason, it just panicked out completely. Oh, well, look at this. Interesting. So it just failed out completely. It didn't know what to return. Let's read through actually. So I'm glad I put this line in here where it says you need to actually explain your thinking and output. So the current step was navigate to the upload form here. Scratchpad reviews. The Scratchpad shows the special agent caller tool was invoked to call the browser agent. There's no evidence in the Scratchpad that the navigation was actually completed. Scratchpad only shows the intent to navigate, not the result. From the previous step context, shows the navigation to the upload was successful in its Scratchpad. Successfully navigated here. Hold on just a second. Oh, you know what? I've realized there was actually some stuff in here. This shouldn't be exploit task. We need to go actually update the prompt. You must, we need to say exploit step updates in there. Anyway, so that's one of the bugs we need to go address. I prefer JSON Derulo. I prefer JSON Momoa. I liked him in SG1. I didn't actually realize he was in Stargate SG1 until I was looking at some YouTube shorts. He bulked up a lot because he was a pretty slim dude compared to his current status. Okay, so it looks at the Scratchpad. From the previous step contents, though, it seems it's successfully navigated. This suggests the navigation task has actually been completed. Decision: since the previous step Scratchpad indicates successfully navigated to the upload format panel, and the current step is about navigation to that same location, the navigation has been completed. The current step should be marked as validated, and we should move to step 2, which is uploaded the PHP web shell. But actually, from this output here, it actually jumped the gun and went way ahead for some reason. It's pretty much like the browser agent got prompt injected by all the data we were giving it. Hold on, what data did we actually send to this thing here? Hang on, let me see. So here's the data that we gave it. We told it what the task was. Oh, this is not right. What the hell? The context is all messed up. Look at this. The task here, it said, get a PHP web shell artifact. That is not correct. That should have been the very first task in the state table. That is incorrect here. So something's wrong in the context generation for the browser agent. Because this should have already been done and dusted up here. Let's look at the input state table. Let's collapse this down. Let's go double check it real quick here. This... Hang on one sec. Because I don't want to lose where I was because it's a pain to drill down into this. So if we come down to this step planner, we look at the output here. No, just give me the output. Where is it? That better not have been what you returned. Okay, no, here's all of our steps right there. Boom. Just like that. So there's all the steps. They came back correctly. This one was get a PHP artifact suitable for an Apache PHP environment. And up here, actually, I need to come back one more because we need to see what this guy's saying. Okay, so the task was upload a web shell to the panel directory. So that should be the parent task. Okay, that's a crappy description of the task, but that's not a problem. And then all the steps did come back. All right, this is what was throwing me off because I saw this here, like that does not sound like a well-formatted exploit task. So we probably need to go modify that again for Claude 4.5 being a turd. Wait, what's happening to the beard? Hey, Cypher, what's up, man? My green screen? Yeah, I need to work on this. I got actually a better camera. Hey, comrade, what's up, dude? Happy Sunday. I got a better camera, and now I've got all these like weird visual artifacts. So I'm looking sharper and worse at the same time. The words are showing up in the beard. What the crap? And there's no way the green screen is popping up over here. I don't get it. I'm gonna have to get my buddy. His name is. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. I know who he is though. I'm gonna have to go get his help with this. Anyway, so let me back this up a bit here. So, task was get a PHP suitable for this environment. So for some reason, the current step was still set to 0. We're not iterating this anymore. Okay. All right, we need to go. Okay, I know what I did. So the problem is, previously, we're giving it all this data right here. And underneath this guy right here was basically our index telling us what's the current step that we're working on. And now that's not being updated because we took out the code to update it. So let's go grab that piece of information. So what we'll do is we'll throw that into the output formatter. This is our exploit step revisions. And what we'll do is we'll say instead of steps, we'll do... what was that field called? Current step. Current step, that's going to be an integer, and we'll make that a pydantic field. And we'll say the description for that is going to be the index to the... Yeah, index to the current step. I think that's what we want to do. In the steps array. There we go. We'll put that in there just like that. Actually, I got to come back over to the prompt. We have to modify this a bit. So we must always return this guy right here. Exploit step revisions. I'm going to take these two lines out right now because I actually try to keep the prompts minimalistic. I don't try to over-engineer them. It also came back and said, hey, by the way, we noticed that there was other ones in here. It's picking up the casting. Hold on. So back here, you don't see it, do you? It's so weird. There's enough white in certain parts of your beard that it's keyed the same color. Yeah, I probably do need to go change the key on it. Also, I probably need to get another light to light up the green screen more. I just haven't done it. All right, let me double check this prompt again real quick, because this is really, if you think about a prompt, it's kind of like you're programming the language model with words. That's what you're doing. If the step did not complete successfully, use the following criteria to update the step. So analyze the step scratchpad for historical attempts to avoid previously failed revisions. Let me see. So if a new step is required prior to the current step, create a new step and insert it into the exploit task steps list in the appropriate order to overcome the blockage. For example, if a file needs to be renamed before uploading, if a file needs to be recompiled before executing, or perform a request to get a new CSRF token. Okay. I think that'll be all right. Let's try this again here. Ooh, actually, hold on. I got to do one more thing. I forgot, because we modified the output formatter here, we now have two. So we have our current step here, which we'll have to go set in the exploit task. So let's come over to the revisor here. Let me rearrange these lines real quick. Do this. And what we're going to do is instead of steps in here, it's going to be our, what is that? Our current step. So we're going to set the current step value to the current step right there. That should be good, I think. We're going to find out. All right, so now rerun from here. And see, that's the weird part. I don't even know where the green is reflecting from. I probably need to go redo the chroma key because I changed it to a slightly different green, and I bet that's causing it. All right, so where did we run into the issue here? Okay, so let's see I wonder if the shape of the data changed when it sent it back. No, it just sent back F all. Why did it return nothing though? Weird. All right, let's try a new thread. Start it from scratch. Back to the beginning. Let's see how badly I broke it. Oh, the green in the text editor. Man. So, Drewski, we were looking at that a little bit ago because I hadn't heard anything about it. And it looked like it wasn't Rob Reiner who passed away. It was two people in a home that he owned. So unless you've heard something new, that was the last bit of news I could see on it. Okay, so here's updates. There's our steps. Did it not update? Oh, hang on. Did our output formatter not update appropriately? Hang on. Yeah, it's because I'm an idiot. It's because I put it here. It's supposed to be under this Pydantic class. Yeah, I'm a dummy. That's usually the problem. Smooth brain wins again. That's alright. We can just time travel from meow. I'm going to execute it again from right about meow. And let it go to meow. It's still translucent. Actually, yeah, right now it is. What the hell? So key error on current step. All right, let's go see what it came back with. So now that we added that secondary field, all of a sudden it's lost its damn mind and it's returning just a list of strings? Am I losing my mind here? Hang on. There's exploit step updates. Exploit step updates. We're selecting the correct data structure here. Wait, I have this like up here twice. What the heck am I doing? Is this even being used? I swear, you get sick for one weekend and you can't work on it, and then all hell breaks loose. There actually is green on the other monitors. Hang on. No, I'm still doing it. I just changed the background. So before it was like some field of green thing. No, that's not the accent color. That's not what I want. Solid color. Nice and gray. Nope, still doing it. Rude. Oh god, no, I can't do that. Oh no, stop, stop. Oh, it changed the whole color scheme. Put it into light mode. Only feds use light mode. Use dark Windows theme. Ah, my retinas. Yeah, you can still see it though in the beard. See, nothing there. The beard is so magical, the camera cannot perceive it. And it just becomes one with the green screen. That's what's happening. I'm gonna try something dumb here. It's gonna break this. It's gonna cause it to fail, but I have to try this though. All right, so it's thinking right now. All right, so what did the output look like? It looked like it gave the actual full output back correctly. Yeah, see all that? That's good. So one thing we could also do is we could take this and we could parse this data out and we could check the status of it. And we could just do it in code. I think let's do that instead. So what we'll do is, let's take this part out.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Oh, bite me. Right here. So this is going to be a list of exploit steps. And then what we'll do is make this new steps. Green screens don't lie, or at least that's what I was taught in the Navy. Bruh. Bruh. It is a list of exploit step. Quit complaining. It didn't complain. Look at this. This is one of the problems with the IDE here. So when I hover over this, right, it's like, hey, possible types is this. I'm like, no, the possible types is not that. I explicitly told you this is going to be a list of exploit steps right here. And it's like, I was expecting some of these other ones in here. I'm like, no, you weren't. All right, fine. You know what we'll do? We'll do this. And see, all of a sudden it's like, I don't know how to complain about this. So let's do this. We'll say, so in the exploit task, we'll say our current step. Why are you doing this? It should be current step. Let me check the state table real quick. Yeah, current step. And that's going to equal... Oh, good, Frozen, man. Also, happy Sunday, dude, in case I hadn't said it to you. Let's think about this. So this updates the state table. What we can do is we can check the current step. Did we get the current... Actually, hold on. Did we pull out the current step already? We do already have the current step right here. Let's call this new... Let's call this our current step status. And it's going to just be a string. And then what we want is, we want to go grab all this out of here. Nope, it's gonna be this guy. Right, yeah. We back this up. No, so what we'll do is we got to index this on the steps. So we'll go into the steps array, and then we're going to index this on the current step here. So we'll say from the current step, and then in the exploit step, what we want is the status right here. So then we'll grab our status. So then if the status equals, actually that's all I want right there. Current status. Hold on, did I use the IDE is psyching me out? It's a gaslighting me in here. So we go to get the current task, we go into the end output, we get the current working exploit task, and then in there we go into steps, right there, and then inside the, and then we index that on the current step, which is no problem. That actually gets us to our actual exploit step, because this is a list right here. And then after that, we check the status. I don't get why it's complaining right there. I think the IDE is gaslighting me. Current step +1. There we go. I'm just going to do it like that. If it equals validated, this is no longer going to be a string. This is going to be a bool. There we go. So it's going to be current step +1. We increment it. Oh no, that's that. Actually, damn it. Damn it. I just realized that's not going to necessarily work, because what happened in this case is good old browser agent went all JSON born on us and actually tried to do all the uploading and all the full attack chain instead of just doing what it was freaking told. Excuse me, I believe you have my stapler. Shut up, Milton. I asked for no salt on my Thai. No salt. And it came with a lot of salt. Let me think about this. What could be caught? I'm sure. So the problem we're having here is we have this integer which tracks where we are in the steps array. So this is just a nice little helper. It keeps everything nice and clean. However, I'm going to do this real quick, even though I know this is going to break it. I got to try this again. So when I enable this, so we want it to give us two things back, our updates and our current step right here. Boom. Shouldn't be a problem. But for some reason, when we enable that, it tends to just lose its ever-loving mind and only return back a list of strings. So let me try that again real quick. All All right, I was expecting it to die there, but I don't care. I just wanted to see what the language model call actually returns. Yeah, look at all this. What happened to the rest of the data? What you are doing? You're returning to current step. That is fine, but why you do this? Why you do this? Dude, Bobby, I'm in the same boat. I have one more week on this penetration test that I'm on, and then I am off the week of Christmas. I'm actually going to be in the week of New Year's, but I'm just going to be doing report writing, so it'll be a pretty chill week for me. Why is it doing this? All of a sudden, it's just returning an ass load of strings. I wonder if I can... So in theory, the language model actually should be able to call multiple tools at once. Let me see here. So there's a couple ways you can do this. One is when you do this, LangChain, I really like you, but your documentation changes so much. Because what I was wondering is, what if we bust this out into a separate Pydantic model, and we tell it you have to call multiple tools in here? Because it can call multiple tools. Yeah, define the tool operators. Give it the ones you want. Tool calls are accessible via the tools. Yep. That's not what I want. So we need some... I'm trying to... Dang it. How am I going to make this work? We need some way to update this integer right up at meow. And I want to try to find it without having to loop over the entire array of steps in here. If it wasn't for orienting those viewers by identifying the critical points in the lab, in particular the rat meow, Jocko wouldn't even consider sponsoring, right? Yeah, y'all listen up, meow. Actually, hang on. Let me see if I can... Oh, I don't think I got something on here. Hang on. I gotta show y'all something absolutely hilarious, but I gotta pull it out real quick. see if I can actually get to it real quick. I didn't think so. Hang on. Yeah, I gotta show y'all this. That's where Peaches has decided she's gonna sleep from now on. We set up the Christmas tree this weekend. We set it up yesterday. And yeah, that's her new favorite bed in the house. Yeah. Hey, Fallon, what's up, man? Yeah, she's decided, okay, obviously I'm the princess of the house. I'm the present. So that's where she was hanging out today. Sock just came over and told me Honey Badger just upchucked again. Poor baby. He's got a really upset stomach. Thanks, honey. One sec, guys. My good bro that is going to help me with the color correction actually just DM'd me. And so I was like, hey man, I desperately need your help. Oh, laughing. That's awesome. See? I don't know what it is about the Christmas trees. Freaking the cats, the dogs. They're all just like, this is my space, meow. Right, meow. Oh, this is bugging the crap out of me. I have to. There we go. That's so much better. No, it didn't do it, son of a... Why is this doing this? Contrasting aquatic. You're killing me. All the colors, I just try to fix something and it's just like, okay. Ah, it's still blue. Damn it. Oh, what is this? No. Good God, don't do that. Oh. Oh. No. Apologize. I'm trying to make this not look like absolute butt. Oh no, don't do that either. Ugh, it's so bright. Why are you like this? Good God, this is terrible. Oh, stop. Okay, I'm gonna have to close you and just lose all my notes. Go away. Anyway, let's get back to it. The colors, man. I saw in the HackBot, is it primarily using a local AI, or is it hooked up to other things? Currently, right now, it's using Claude API. So we're using Claude Sonnet 4.5. Yeah, Claude Sonnet 4.5 right now. And eventually, I think actually the next update I make, we're going to switch it to OpenRouter. That way I can just have one place to, so when I want to eventually put in a testing harness, I can then change just the model and have the testing harness run through it. So currently it's just using straight up Anthropic. Excuse me. But I'm going to change that. I think that's going to be one of the next modifications we make. Because I'm almost out of Anthropic tokens. The whole reason I started with this is I had $100 in Anthropic tokens. And it's lasted us a long time, though. The color is Duke. I'm colorblind, kid. Alright. Let me come back over here and see. This bugs the crap out of me so bad. I don't get why it's doing this. This wasn't an issue whenever we had it do the full thing in here. OpenRouter lets you BYOK too if you and have free models. Yeah. I like OpenRouter. I've used it for some other stuff. I just think it would be really cool to have a single place where I could route all of this stuff to and be able to pick all the different model providers. Because I think in OpenRouter, you can even go to like Grok, which is one that I've been tinkering with quite a bit. Orc, no, Grok. Yeah, so you have all the Grok ones in here as well. And that would be one I'd be interested to see how it does. Grok still hallucinates and makes up stuff all the time too. But it's also really fast. It's faster than the others. I've noticed that. So I think you're gaining a lot in speed. And I don't know how much you're gaining in actual accuracy. All right, so this is obviously not going to be a workable solution in here. So let's take this part out. We need some other way to get this to work. Let me see here. LangChain allow model to call multiple tools. Dude, you're freaking... Because the tool calls actually come back in as an array. I know it should be possible to allow it to call multiple tools back in here. So we bind the tools. Yeah, that's fine. But I want it to call multiple ones in here. Maybe somebody over on the dumpster fire. This is from 2 years ago, though. Yeah, that's not going to be helpful. No, it wasn't doing multiple tool calls in the past. It was still only calling one tool. So a lot of the code is actually set up to just go get the 0 element of the tool call array. But for this particular example, I wanted to give it 2 pydantic models to call. One to get the current index and the other one, or the current step, and the other one to give a list of the steps back. The problem is, when we had it do the updates and the return the integer as well, it just completely broke this. This is currently working perfect right here. This is working exactly as expected. The other way we could possibly do this, and I was avoiding doing this, but it is possible we could do this, is rather than having it, no, that even that doesn't quite work because we have so much technical detail in here. I was thinking about taking a little bit more of the Claude Code approach and making it just purely more textual in here. The problem is I really want to have some fine-grained tracking details in this. I have to make it async to do that? Maybe. And that's the problem, is I don't understand Python's async layout very well. Is this even being used anywhere? I don't think so. Yeah. No, you're going away. All right, so from the information we get back, let's take another look at this data when it comes back properly. So this is what it comes back as. It set this one to working. So one thing we could do is we actually could just call the get current working one. That is a really dirty hack in here. There you go. Add a little bit more time. I should never trust that also, because the try hack me UI can get a little funny. All right, there we go. So what we can do is actually go write this response down to here, and then this is stupid, but if it works and it's stupid, it's not stupid. Which is then, instead of the steps in here, we say the current step is then going to be equal to, what is it? This is really, really dumb. Yeah, checks the state table for the current working exploit step. Do we even need that value anymore? I don't think so, actually, come to think of it. Because the current step was actually a critical tracking piece in the beginning, but then we added the helper function to constantly get that. You had me at it works. Conceptual overview of async IO. Man, I need that. I get the rough idea of it. It's going to be a lot of overhead to rewrite it, but this would be something for the rewrite. Let me come back over here. Also, hey, Dubob, what's up, brother? Happy Sunday. No, I didn't tell you to do that. Come down. Stop it. Stop it, you. There we go. Let's see. Actually learn async. Why can I not type all of a sudden? Async concepts. Let's see here. There we go. We'll just put it in the to-do for later. Because I'm not going to do that until I finish the... what is it? I'm definitely not going to do that until I finish Stinger. So we still have 2 more agents to get through for this. Now this is two Bob's music actually. Yeah. And he's got some really good ones in there. I enjoy it. If you do !music, it will link you to his GitHub repository with all the songs in there. Do I actually still need this? Let me double check something real quick. I'm gonna put a break line in here so I remember this. Wait, this is the browser. This is the wrong freaking file. Hang on. Come back over here. This is where we're working right now. Let me actually come back up to the processor real fast. I think the actual only place this might be getting used is over in the browser. I don't think we're actually pulling that out of the state table anymore. Let's go see. Yeah, because it looks like I replaced it with the actual function that dynamically gets it instead of trying to read it from the state table. So if that's the case, maybe we don't even need that anymore. And we just have to go update it over here. Maybe I've just been way overthinking this. Yeah. What is going on here? Let's take this out. Let me try this again. Let's do get current exploit task, and we pass in the state table, just like that. If that's the case, if we're not even using that value anymore, oh no, want that. Undo. We might not even need this part. That current step isn't even worth tracking. We can always just go look in the state table. We can run get current exploit to step to do that. Okay. Let's come back here. Let's try running this again. We'll start with a new thread. We'll see what happens. The dead game I play official servers just went down, and 1,000 people around the world are fiercely reloading their clients. Oh, you're playing Dota Underlords? I wanted to check out Dota, but honestly, there's so many folks. And I haven't played Underlords, and I played very little Dota, but it was so many tryhards. I was having flashbacks to League of Legends. So when everyone's like, hey, doesn't that game make you salty? It's like, no, I used to play League of Legends. Okay, so we got we got an error on updates, which is fine, but let me see the kind of data it returned back. So first off, let's go see what the special agent did. So it took a snapshot. Okay, that's not bad. So for some reason it did something stupid here. And the snapshot decided, I don't know what to do. All right, for some reason, this is still pulling the wrong one, though. See that? Okay, there's probably needs some more updates over in the browser agent. Let's go look at that real quick. Excuse me. Let's go find that real quick. Find... That's the only place current step is mentioned? What? Something is way wrong here then. Because this should not be what it was given in here. Let's look at the input state table real fast. Because it should have said navigate. Like go navigate the browser to it. So the task is get remote code execution from a web shell. That's fine. Exploit task is this. This one came back as validated. Excuse me. This one's validated, this one's working, and it should be this. Why is it getting the step 0 instead of step 1? Actually, tell you what, let me look at the messages in here. So checking status of exploit task 0, step 0. And then we get all this information back about what it did. So what did it actually return back? So there's an error in this though. So it even says it right here. It's like, hey, we need to do this, but it doesn't return anything. The heck? I just hit platinum in League for the first time ever. Dude, nice. I never hit platinum. I was a silver League scrub. I was a silver scrub at best. I did enjoy Darius, though. So one of the things that turned me off of League was a lot of the rock, paper, scissors aspect to the characters. That was always kind of annoying. Because I usually had, like, certain characters I liked playing. So... For example, I really liked Darius, and I forget the other guy who looks like Wolverine. He's got like a druid guy. I would go jungle with him. But those are really like... Actually, there was one other guy I liked playing, which was Twisted Fate. He was really fun. But that was it. Those were like my three favorites that I would play. And you just never knew what you were going to get with a lot of randos. I never played on a team or anything. Have a league relapse session? God no. I don't know if I could take that much clicking. Maybe there's something in the scratch pad that we're missing? Possibly. I mean, it should be good in here. The step needs to remain working with iteration incremented. That's great. Why'd you not return it? You returned nothing. Nothing. I can think of some ways to handle this. However, they're all fairly noisy and heavy. I don't know if I want to take that route because we're trying to make this bot be as streamlined as possible as it's going through everything. Let me think about this. Unfortunately, I can't really step through it as it's going through. I only have the trace data in here, Gumby, because of the way we're executing it. There's not a direct interface into the program right now, except through LangChain, except through the studio. I'm tempted to just say, if it returns blank, then we go increase the iterations and we work through it again. However, that doesn't seem appropriate. So it looks like for some reason so right here it's even saying that that's a type string, type array. So the pydantic version of this is just not cutting it. So I'm going to try something else real quick. Let's just, for grins and giggles, let's go do something. Whenever we bind to the language model, where was that? It was right around here somewhere. Here we go. So like, see, none of this information that we went through and annotated is coming through as part of that pydantic model in there. So we're kind of, dang it. This sucks, because it puts us back almost to square one of where we were. Oh, this is not what I wanted. Look at this ugly ass purple here. I actually really like purple. This is just not what I wanted for this. I'll fix it after the stream. But what's happening here is, right, so we have the exploit task, right? Exploit task right here. And then we have our steps array underneath this, right? So here's our steps. So giving it the exploit task was too much. Giving it the steps is okay, but it's not quite working. And then under here, we had the individual step, right? And giving it an individual step doesn't work either because it doesn't allow it to make enough modifications to overcome blockages. This was the issue that we ran into before. This, no bueno. Not good. Oh, damn it. If we could get it to make additional tool calls, multiple tool calls at once, which it doesn't make any sense on why it shouldn't be able to. Let's see. Allow large language model to return multiple tool calls. There has to be a way, because why would it be an array? So in this case, we have a whole bunch of tools here, right? So there's our very, very basic state table. Excuse me. So in this case, they're assuming. So what they did is they went through and they defined a whole bunch of tools in here, right? So these are all just placeholder tools. In this case, they're using OpenAI.
I'm back, baby.
Welcome back, Gumby. All right. I want to try something just for grins and giggles. We're going to hack around and find out. We're going to go back to our roots here. Dude, it is really cold. It is 34 in Dallas right now. Which we usually don't see this kind of temperature until January, typically. Let's see here. It's 12 degrees Fahrenheit we are? Dang. That's too chilly for the willy. My Audi becomes an innie. Excuse me. So I do want to try something here. We're going to let it return a couple of different things. I just want to see what happens. So in this case, we told it exploit step updates, but we need to go modify the prompt if we're going to do that. So let's come back up here. We can just take this out. I'm just gonna comment that out real quick here, because now we're gonna send it. Damn it! This cough hasn't been an issue all day, and of course, as soon as I get on stream, then it wants to act up. I'm gonna take that part out. I'm gonna say I want to see if it will call multiple tools. I'm going to actually put another line in here. Hang on. Nah, I think I'll just take that line out, actually. I'm going to leave it like that for a second. Because the idea here is... And we'll probably have to do some more prompt engineering around this. If it returns a single step, that's fine. We could take that step, we can process it, we could update the individual step in the array. Otherwise, what we could do is overwrite the entire array if it decides that, hey, it needs to put new steps in. I think that might work. Let's go give it a shot. Rerun. I'm so honestly surprised I haven't run out of Anthropic tokens yet, because I haven't bought any more. I was trying to wait for a sponsor to come online that was going to give me like $100 a month to work with for this. But it's coming up slower than I thought it would. Interesting. What did it return here? I'm just going to let it run. I'm going to let it go buck wild. I want to see what it does. All right, what did it do here? We definitely have to go change the prompt, because the prompt was set up for the exploit task, not for these two options. But we do see we have it called both. Look at that. Okay. Things are getting interesting now. I was wondering if it was going to do both. Let's read through the thinking on it. So, current step was navigate to the upload panel. Scratchpad shows the browser agent was called to navigate. There's no evidence of successful navigation. Status determination. Page was never fully loaded. So the step is still in progress and has not been completed successfully. The browser agent called. So the decision, keep the current step as working. Do not increment the current step. Okay, that was wrong. We do need to increment the current... Oh, no, current step we don't care about. That's not an issue. We do need to take that out, though. So let's go do that real quick. Information about the current step we can deuce out of here. And we can find that real quick. Okay, we don't need that, so that can go away. And then what else do we have in here? Don't change the iteration count. This is the first attempt. Iterations equals 0. But that was the first attempt, so it should be iterations equals to 1. So where did we say our iterations will happen? Did I misspell iterations? No. So increment the field by 1. Well, all right. Always. There we go. The step task remains unchanged as it's appropriate. Wait for the browser agent response to determine success. Okay, so let's save this. So after it does this, it goes back to the step processor. Well, actually, hold on. We didn't look at what it actually returned back to us. So it called exploit step updates in here. But what's weird is, actually, if we look up here, it says it called both exploit step and exploit step updates. But the output is only showing one tool call in here. Interesting. Why did it mark both of them as called? Here's our tool calls, yeah. Exploit step update and exploit step. That is so... Damn it. This freaking cough, man. That is hella suboptimal. Feedback. That is very, very suboptimal. Because it's only showing us the one in here, right? What did it actually return, though? If we look at the metadata. So this was our exploit step update. This was our exploit step. Well, actually, I take it back. This was the invocation parameters. That's the tools in there. That's annoying as hell. So I need to know if this is actually going to happen real fast. So let's do something here. So here's where we get the response. So what we're going to do is we're going to annoying debug the response in here. Actually, hold on. We have AI message append happening. So if we look at the output messages, you know, all right, I'm still going to leave that debug statement in because I want to know what's going to happen with it. Yeah, so from all the stuff I've seen while I've been working with this, I'm not concerned about an efficient AI. An inefficient one that's just going to burn millions and millions of tokens, potentially getting some work done. But an efficient one that's thinking in a straightforward, logical manner, not so much. I'm done with this winter BS. I got bad news for you, Gumby. I need to rerun this because I need to see if it actually did do both of them. Oh, did we have compilation error? No, it looks like it compiled correctly. Let me try it again. Oh, hold on. You know what? I just realized. Let me just rerun this from scratch because it actually did get down the chain when it did this. And so where I was rerunning it from, it had kind of already hit that error a little bit. So we'll let it go through the full chain here. First one should be real fast. All right, so now it's going to go call the special agent node again, which it should use a completely new browser since we restarted from scratch. It's going to lose the information from the state table about what browser it already had. That's why we get those dangling containers all the time. Not a big deal, though. Those containers don't take up a lot of memory. I just saw things as actually looking more carefully. And then it aired out. Let's see what it did here. Okay, so it calls our first tool. That's fine. What did the revisers say about this? It said they're both called again. However, let's go back and see if we can find out where that was in the output. So... Oh, hey, AQ, what's up, man? Oh, yeah, dude. Just hacking away at it. Unfortunately, I don't remember how far back I did the annoying debug on this. I think... Okay, so here's where we had the false start error. Okay. So what we want to see is, we want to see the response tool calls in here. Oh, am I? I think I'm an idiot. No, this should have worked. Oh, I have another annoying debug in here. That's why. I was like, why is this happening? Take that out. So... What's crazy, okay, is in the studio, it's showing that it actually called two tool calls. But I actually wasn't seeing that. So I don't know if that's just a weird tracking artifact. Here we go. Okay, so this is the actual output. You watched Hackers last weekend? Dude, I love that movie. Like, completely, that is the movie that got me into cybersecurity. I'm not going to lie to you. 12-year-old me was just enamored with 19-year-old Angelina Jolie. Okay, so there's the text. Where is our tool call? Here we go, tool calls. All right, so from our tool calls here, there's the exploit step updates right there. So it did just call the one tool, but for some reason it's flagging that it called both of these in here. Let me take this out real fast here. I believe this goes to right here. You're going to complain about every one of those backslashes, aren't you? Okay, so we would have seen another one in the array here saying that it happened. So yeah, it really is just calling the one tool. However, for some reason, the studio is showing that it made two tool calls. Whack. Unfortunately, I don't think I have a Python linter in here. Yeah, I don't. I don't have a Python formatter set up. But anyway, this is the main thing though, right here. So looking for this, the name value in here. Right, there's only one. So there really is just one element in that tool call array. Excuse me. I am trying so hard not to just freaking cough into the microphone. I apologize. Let me find that real quick here. Find annoying debug. Here we go. Turn that off. See, that's See, that's the wild thing. Okay, that's what I would have expected too in here. I'll tell you what, let me leave that in for now, where I can actually kind of track it. Yeah. I'm gonna put in a bunch of line breaks. I'm gonna run it one more time here. Actually, let me finish walking through this. So what was the next thing it's trying to do? Navigate. All right. Then the browser actually does go through and do the navigation. Looks like it was good. What does the reviser actually return? So it returns step updates, but blank. And that's probably a prompting failure on our part because we reworked this to where it's not working on an exploit task anymore. It's now got multiple tool call options here. So like, look at this one. Bam. Let me try rerunning that last one right here. Rerun from here. Because that should be identical output. It should run it and we'll hit the annoying debug one time. It'll be easy to go trace through there. All right, let me see what it came back with on that. If you need a performant Python formatter, check out Rough. I just need something that's quick and fast in VS Code. Would you prefer a nice game of chess? That is a classic. No, thank you. How about thermonuclear war? Let's see here real quick. Crap, I just noticed what time it is. Do I have to actually install Rough ahead of time, or will it just do it auto-magically for me? Oh yeah, dude, the product placement was thick in that movie. I didn't even notice it as a kid. I think you have to actually have Rough already set up for that. I'll check it out later.
Incoming transmission from Moreno Gumby. Just unitely friendly remind to not forget to push it real good.
Push it real good. I will, buddy. Where's our actual tool calls in here? Tool calls. Actually, here, this is really... Yeah, actually, we can see this right here. Look, tool calls.
Incoming transmission from Moreno Gumby. Love you long time.
Damn it. Don't make me laugh. It makes me cough. I never used it in VS Code, so I'm not using as I'm not using that for Python, but probably could just set it up locally. Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. You just do you just send the bits and then whatever the message is, it reads it out. Just remember the rules of chat, though. The first rule is don't hack Twitch or YouTube or Kick, because that's where I stream. The second rule is everyone in chat is a fed. The third rule is don't talk about anything illegal in chat. See rule number 2. And I believe the fourth rule is like just be excellent to each other. Cue Fight Club reference.
Incoming transmission from Moreno Gumby. And what does that have to do with how much peanut butter you can fit in an elephant's ear with a popsicle stick?
Well, I believe that's currently inversely proportional to the number of pancakes it takes to sand a doghouse.
Incoming transmission from Crystal_Mess323. Rules? No rules where we're going.
Makes me think of Doc Brown from the end of Back to the Future. Rules? Where we're going, we don't need rules. No laughing. Do not. There's not 40 rules in chat, and do not Google Blaise Bits Rule 34. For the love of God. Fuck you, laughing. Oh, they're trying to kill me. The chat. They're out to kill me. They found a denial of service bug. If you send a joke, and he just coughs, and then he can't stream. I'm glad I got the reference, Crystal. So one of my good buddies that I still talk to on the daily, that I worked with at my last company, he and I are about the same age, and so like every like funny pop culture reference he would make, I was like usually the one that would get it. Everybody else would be like, what? And I'd be like, I got you, boo. I know what it means. How long is a piece of string? Twice the distance from the middle? You're not wrong, actually. So yeah, I think this is a visual bug in here because it's saying, so it's saying it called 2 in here, but when we actually look at the raw data as it comes back, in this case it was actually really easy because the tool call was short because there was no data sent as part of the tool call. It just... So weird.
Incoming transmission from Moreno Gumbio. The 34 rule is so in SFW.
Yeah. If you're on your work computer, please do not Google Rule 34. Use your personal cell phone. Okay, I think the next thing we'll have to do is we'll have to go re-engineer the prompts in here. because this prompt was originally devised for how to handle ingesting and returning updated exploit tasks. Now we've scoped it down and it has much smaller information to deal with, and it can get a little bit more granular when it does that. So I think that's where we'll have to pick it up on. I don't know. Hey, I'm gonna keep an eye on the news cycle. I don't know if Wednesday night stream will be news or if we'll just do some more dev and have a good time, and y'all can try to make me die from coughing. And in fact, I don't know how my voice would even hold out on a news stream, so maybe that's just what we'll do on Wednesday. I'll let y'all know. Oh, we're using Sonnet 4.5. So originally, let me see if I still have the drawing up. Originally, this is where we had, so this is the rough data structure of it. There's actually one more top level piece of data up here, which is an actual task object. So these are all objects in here. Task. Good enough. And so this is at the top level of the state table. And then nestled under this, we can have an exploit task. So if the task is assigned to the exploitation agent, we can have an exploit task. Underneath the exploit task is an array of steps that need to be completed. And then that array of steps is a step object in here. So these are all objects coming up into here. And originally, this was the level we were working at, the individual step. We did give it the ability to make changes to the step and to insert something. So if we had our array of steps right here, right? So if we had like 1, 2, 3, we gave it the ability to come in and say, okay, we had to do a precursor step right here, but this structure ended up just muddying the waters of the step thing, and it wasn't quite enough. So then we scoped it back out to where it could modify the entire exploit task, have full visibility to the entire context of what has happened for this attempt. That was too much for it. And when it was returning data, it was only returning partial fields. So there's some fields in here in this task, and it was just returning like bits and pieces of this and bits and pieces of a step. It was just an absolute shit show. So then we're like, okay, we've currently scoped it to this section here, the actual steps array and the actual steps. So I think that might be why it thinks it's calling the two of them, because an exploit step is actually nestled under this exploit steps update in here. But I don't know if that's the actual case to it. I'm trying to suss it out. Seems like you're building workflow management using agents. Kind of. I mean, that's mainly what you're doing in LangGraph, right? Is just doing workflow management. Well, okay, no, I get what you're saying. You're talking about the workflow management using the agent. That's exactly what I'm doing in this case. Yeah, the workflow is defined there, but where it's going to go from there is going to be dependent on whatever the data the agent returns, because it has this entire list that it's got to get through. And there's actually, there should be a piece in there where it can actually skip part of it. If one of those middle pieces gets overzealous and actually gets RCE, then we actually have it coded in where it could skip over that and just go right to the last two steps, which we hard code. Yeah. Just trying to get it to work. I should look into deep agents. You know what? That's been on my to-do list for a hot minute. My only reservation to deep agents is it just further ingratiates me to the LangChain ecosystem, and I'm not married to that. I should already have a passkey. I wonder why it's saying I don't. I'll have to go fix that. Deep agents. Also, I try to own, well, I really want to understand like what I'm doing with this whenever the deep agents come through here. So like in this case, our agent is just, hey, we go create the deep agent. And I'm like, okay, that sounds really cool, but a lot of the context management I really want to understand. But you're saying also throw like a middleware into there. You can also check out the Claude Code SDK. You know what's funny is actually I've recently been tinkering with Claude Code quite a bit. I actually did something really cool. So I was completely out on Claude Code until I took that course 2 weeks ago with Jason Haddix. He showed me some of the really cool stuff he was doing with it. So I actually had Claude Code go through and modify Impacket and make it to where SMB client can go through and download recursively. So now I have a copy of SMB client that if I send it to a directory on an SMB server, it downloads everything in the directory. I found some really open SMB servers in a client's environment, and I was able to pilfer it really easily. That was done with Claude Code. Then actually I went through and I made a skill in here to take all those files and send them up to a Nemesis server. Nemesis. There we go. And so I'm able to take everything from that SMB client and then send it over to Nemesis. I thought that was actually pretty cool. It runs kind of janky because it's not loading the skill by default, but it was cool. I'm hoping I can polish this turd up to make it something a little bit neater. So Deep Agent comes with stuff like a to-do middleware, which is what you're suggesting that for the task and steps and stuff. Okay. Maybe that's what we should take a look at next then. I do need to go update this prompt here. But I'll tell you what, let's come over to... I'm going to put that in my to-do list right here. You're supposed to be over here. Not there. There. Exploit. Deep Agent and to do middleware. I'll leave a note here for myself for next time. Did I misspell investigate? For real? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Yes, there is a note to actually learn async in here. Yeah. I do need to actually learn proper async for this. All right, guys. Unfortunately, I do need to wrap it up for tonight. Let's go see if we can find somebody to go raid over to. Shut up, baby. I know it. Let's see. Braythorn's on, but let me see who else is. If there's anybody interesting doing anything. So Adam's on, doing his stuff.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
It's because I'm not speaking. I'm also not reading chat, because every time I do, you... Oh, said something bad. You guys make me laugh, and then I start coughing again. Nope, chat's over there, eyes over here. Actually, you know what? I didn't do the obligatory. Let's go check who's on InfoSec streams real quick. If anybody happens to be on. CyberDoc is on. What's he working on? Oh, he's working on Over the Wire. Okay, yeah. We'll go right over to CyberDoc.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby's Netashaw's on Blaise.
Zetashaw's on? Okay. Hold on, let me go push the updates here. Tester and test data don't need to get pushed. Yep, commit. Push. Alright, all my ramblings in the form of Python code are now up on GitHub. Let's see. What's Zed working on? He's doing some C++ right now, but I think CyberDoc, I want to go show him some love because
Incoming
he's doing over the wire.
transmission from RNO Gumby. You can raid whoever though.
Yeah, because over the wire is a really cool CTF if you haven't seen it. There. Async bunch of generators. I did remember to push it real good. All right, guys, unfortunately, that is where I do need to wrap it up. I got one more week of work and hopefully just one more week for y'all. But if you're working the week of Christmas, that is no excuse. Keep on crushing it. That is how we're doing it. So if it is already Monday for you, crushing it mode should be activated. If it is Monday tomorrow, get prepared. Crushing it mode activates in T-minus 6 hours. That's right. It starts at 5 a.m. Central Time. I'm going to try. If my voice is really crappy on Wednesday, we'll just do another coding stream because I don't know if I could stand reading a bunch of news, unfortunately. I'll take a look. We'll see how it's coming up. But I am been feeling better, except when you guys just make me die laughing. So thanks for coming to hang out. Love you guys. Y'all are awesome. And it's just awesome. Y'all are funny. Y'all crack me up. And I thought what else I got? God, my brain's shot. Crushing it mode. Already talked about that. Tomorrow's crushing it mode. Just because the holidays are approaching, crushing it mode does not turn off. Save it for the holiday. Crush it real good so you can go comfortably into the holiday and not think about all the crap you didn't get done. And that's it. No, wait, I forgot one more very important thing, and that is, I love you. Peace. Actually, I lied. One more thing. When you get into cyber